Everyone, so glad that you're here, double checking that we are live on LinkedIn. Let's see. Yes, indeed, it looks like we are live, double checking. And let's just make sure they're doing their thing right. It says that it will start soon, and I show that we are live. So let's just hope that LinkedIn catches up. Good morning, everyone. This is Leslie Flowers. I am so glad that you are here. And I would love to know that you are seeing me live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So simply say hello. And there is our first good morning from a LinkedIn user. And let us know where you're coming from. This is good news that everything is actually working properly today. Hello, hello. As we wait for people to come in for just a minute, I found this wonderful music that I thought you might like to hear. Good morning, Aaron and Christy. And who is our LinkedIn user? It's so interesting that sometimes we don't know who it is. LinkedIn present and accounted for. Okay, so here we go. So here's just a little music as people come in. Keep your sunny side up. Okay, so we got a room full. I'm so glad that you're here. Hello, Janelle, Christy, Aaron, Cyrus. So glad you're here. This is something that I absolutely love doing. And I must tell you that when you do what you love, and it's taken a long time to actually get to that point, but I've been there for some time now. When everything is a labor of love, life gets pretty magical. So I'm Leslie Flowers, and what we're doing in this live every Friday morning is I'm going to share with you the blueprint for success in Napoleon Hill's #2 bestseller of all times, second only to the New Testament, Think and Grow Rich. And in 2008, I went and studied and became certified with Bob Proctor, who at that time, and still is, even though he passed away last year on February 3rd, he is the world's expert on Think and Grow Rich. And the universe sent me to him through a long story, which I often share about how I manifested a big bundle of money to go be certified by this gentleman. And I had already been involved in transformational and personal and professional development, a little quantum physics, metaphysics, but I wasn't really sure where I was headed. So when this happened, for whatever reason, I fell in love with this really quite masculine. If you think about this, look at the size of this book. And why am I so interested in it? Well, I don't know, but over the last 16 years, I've taught it for 20,000 hours and helped hundreds of people set and achieve their goals with consistency, and really began to dig in deep into why is it that we never learned how to set a goal. And because that means none of our teachers knew, our parents didn't know, we didn't know. And the only way we learned how to set goals was through trial and error. Well, there are a dozen that I've created, that I've used over the last 16 years. That is the checklist. And I created it because I couldn't find it anywhere. There wasn't a place where I could find a checklist. Okay, I'm setting a goal. What are my best chances? Right? If I follow this checklist first, right? There was no process. There is now. So that's what I've been doing. right? And taking people through the process, teaching you the 12 principles of achievement, how you can always achieve your results. And most of it is here in Think and Grow Rich. Now, you know, probably 8 or 9 of these checklist items, you know them through trial and error, but haphazard results is not going to give you the momentum and the happiness that you so richly deserve. So let me just say hello to a few beautiful people here. We go till 10:45. This is a teaching lesson. And today we're still in the introduction. So let me just tell you this about the introduction in this book. It's not one of the 13 principles of success. And over the last 100 years, all your personal development greats, except a few, have used Think and Grow Rich to build their empires. They won't tell you, right? They like to think that they figured it all out themselves, but none of us have. We all build hybrids on top of hybrids on top of hybrids, hopefully synthesizing the information in such a way that more people can understand it. And that's what I've been doing, is being able to articulate these concepts. And we're doing lessons in the stories. So that makes it even better. So you want to really think about today when I explain the story, listen for the lessons, which I will also tell you, and think about when you did these things. Very often we think that this is for other people. But the truth is you've been doing this kind of thing all your life, particularly when you were a child, but you just never distinguished what you were doing. Once you see the steps and you step in order of this blueprint and build on each week, then all of a sudden things will become clear. They're going to be a little confusing, but out of confusion comes order. We don't take many steps when we're confused, but if you stick with it, you will take action once you're clear. So I'm so thrilled that you're all here, get to know each other, because you're here because you think, because your mindset is important to you. You know about it. You have triggers and you do react. However, you're on a mission, like I am, to always look at the good side as much as you can. But we're built so that we're going to have the negative side too, which you will learn working with me, that this is the law of polarity, one of 7 universal laws that work all the time. And Napoleon Hill knows a little bit about this. But think about this, is over the last 100 years, we've learned so much more about quantum physics, metaphysics. It's just been awesome what's happened over the last 100 years. So we have Christy. I love that. So good to see you. And Christy is a big supporter. She's in customer relations and customer service. Get to know her. Erin Gibson. Good morning, Erin. Erin is the soul man in his weekly Friday night live series here on LinkedIn, 8 p.m. Eastern, Soul Man Live. It is an experience. I will just tell you, there's nothing else like it on LinkedIn. It combines, first of all, the focus on mental health and mental awareness and taking care of yourself mindset-wise, that we're all really heroes. We've all been down and we've all crawled our way back up, hopefully all of us. And then there's tremendous music and video, and it's just a whole experience. So 8 o'clock tonight and every Friday night, please join us. Okay, so we have Janelle, a new friend. This is Janelle Daniels. I met her, really got to know her last weekend. It's been a week since the Work-Life Balance Summit, which was last Saturday and last Friday and Saturday. And here is Cyrus, and I'm working with Cyrus. Just so you know, there's some excitement coming toward the end of this presentation. I'll let you wait, before you hear this very exciting news. And Cyrus is all about podcasting, audiobooks, all sorts of very interesting things. He knows a lot of things I don't know. So connect yourself with people who know the stuff you don't know, and they also have the track record. So thanks for being here. All right, let's see who else has come into the room. There is Sam Hall. Sam, thank you for being here. It's lovely to see you. And Kemi is here. How are you, Kemi? So glad that you're here. Feel free to share. This is a teaching lesson. There will be 12 weeks, and each week, it will build on top. And if you've heard this before, great. Listen to it again. All the videos are hosted on my personal profile. Why? Because one of the principles of success is autosuggestion, or what we know as self-suggestion. This is how we learn in spaced, repetitive intervals over time. And when there's confusion in the beginning, each time we do it, things get a little clearer. We become a little bit more aware every time. So if you've ever heard yourself saying, oh, I already read this, I've already seen this video, let me share with you that when you saw it and when you read it, you were not at the same level of conscious awareness as you are today. Because we are either growing in awareness or we're not doing anything and we're disintegrating back into our comfort zone. So when you came into this room today, you were at a particular level of conscious awareness. You knew certain things. When you're finished, you're going to know more things. Things that you thought you had read before will show up differently for you. You'll go, oh, I never noticed that before. Wow, I know I've heard this lesson before, but I didn't hear that. That's right. You weren't ready to hear it yet. So that's kind of the magic of awareness, is that all these concepts are coming to you. And my job is to articulate them in a very simple form so you can visualize them and kind of absorb them as quickly as possible so that you can take action. But until you're really clear on how it works in your life, you will hesitate to take action. So that's the idea. So listen to these things over and over again and avoid saying, well, I already know that, because you did, but now there's more things to know. So look who's here. Lisa Marie is here. Also, thank you, Lisa, so much for being here. Very happy to see you. And there is Islam. Hi, Islam. So glad that you're here. And my tried and true supporter, gosh, it's been almost 2 years, Terrence. So your presence here means so much to me. And here we have Lily Lee, and I just stepped into one of her audio rooms learning about light language. There's all sorts of very interesting things. And at one time, I was pretty skeptical about a lot of things around spirituality. And I would probably argue that there was no such thing as all of this. But I've come 180. So that's why it's so important to continue learning and visualizing these things and practicing them. So I'm so glad that you're here, Lily. And here's my darling friend, Elizabeth, who lives in Rhode Island. And she is a multi-author. She is a nurse and a trained hypnotherapist. So totally cool. You're welcome, Erin. Always fun to share about how you see me. What I say about you is how you show up for me. It might be different than what you think about yourself, but this is when I see you, this is what I see. Hi, Lisa. Lisa is at Trinidad, Tobago, and she's a registered dietitian and was an engineer, I understand, and is really focused on women with menopause, how to use food to to diminish some of the 100 symptoms we have when we hit menopause. But as I've said many times before, her information works for all of us. So I follow what she says, even though I'm not in menopause yet. Okay, let's see who else is here. Saksham is a new friend. So glad you're here, Saksham. And Paulette is here. Oh, Adrian is here. Adrian, you're going to be thrilled when we get to the end of this. Okay, we'll be done in 30 minutes, but you are going to be so excited, and I want you all to get really excited. I am totally pumped about what I'm going to share with you after this. There's Paulette Earle, and I met her, got to really know her much better through her work at the Work-Life Balance Summit last weekend. It was wonderful. And let me just make sure. Okay, I got everything. I got everybody in here. Okay, so now you want to be listening for when you've done these things yourself. This is a wonderful story. And it's in the introduction. There are 3 stories in the introduction. And it's not the 13 principles, but you must understand the foundation, how to plant your idea, what is critical before you even start to work on whatever it is you're working on, whatever your next goal is, whatever the next thing you want is. So in the introduction, it's all about definite purpose. A lot of times we say, well, I'd really like to have a lot more money. Not good enough. How much more money? Well, let's see, I make maybe 50,000 a year. Maybe I could make 60. Not a good goal. Not compelling, not inspiring. You could go get a job at a fast food place and pick up that $10,000 for the year. So not only does the exact amount or the exact thing that you want have to be very clear enough for you to visualize already having it, but it's got to excite you. You have to be compelled to do it. So an extra $10,000 a year isn't going to compel me because I know how to do that already. The key here is that you do not know how to do it. You've never done it before. Or you pick something that you failed at because you never did that before either. That's critical. The exact details of what it is you want, you can get to them a lot of ways. You can find pictures of them and hold them up, put them on your walls like kids did when they first got the Sears and Roebuck catalog, right? And this was a long time ago, but we'd rip out the thing we want. Maybe it was a pair of skates, and we'd tape it up on our wall. So every morning we woke up and we saw those skates, and then we noticed them everywhere. Anybody who had those skates, right? They were top of mind because we had visualized ourselves owning those skates. How cool would we look skating with our friends with the new skates? These aren't skates with the key anymore, right? These are a different kind, an upgrade, an up level, and that's all you thought about. Your definite purpose has to be that way. Why you want it, what difference it's going to make in your life, in the life of your families. So anytime you want something, it's got to be crystal clear and one thing at a time. So in the introduction is where you understand, and you'll be listening for the lessons. Last week we did the story about 3 Feet from Gold. This was about R.U. Darby, who during the gold rush had gone out to Colorado, actually found a claim and hid the claim, and went home to borrow money from everybody because he needed a lot of equipment. Like there was a rich vein, and as it turned out, it was one of the richest veins ever. So he gets back there and he brings in all this equipment, right? You remember this story. And if you don't, very briefly, what happens with him is he, all of a sudden, everything is going great. He's bringing gold to the smelter. He's getting enough money to start to pay everybody back. Once everybody's paid back, all the money is his. He's really excited, and bam, the gold vein dries up. And he doesn't know what to do. They try and try and try. Nothing happens. They keep digging. Nothing. Finally, he gives up. That's your first lesson. Do not give up. But what did he do? Well, he found the junk man on the gold site and sold him all his stuff for a couple $100, right? And that was his lesson, right? He failed. But the lesson here is the junk man found the site geologist, and I don't think they called him a geologist back then. But in any case, he sought expert advice before quitting. If R.U. Darby had done that, it'd be a whole different story. But that is the lesson here. When you hit a wall, seek expert advice. So what happened was the geologist said, oh, well, they don't, the man before you didn't know anything about fault lines. You're 3 feet from goal. Keep digging. And sure enough, that junk man made all the money. So that was the lesson. Okay. So today, let me see. Those were the good old days, Sears Christmas catalogs. Oh my God, are you kidding? Yeah, we never used them as toilet paper either. I know I heard people say that maybe at an outhouse there was an old catalog for that. But oh my God. With my children, I don't know if you remember these little small magazines that would come in the mail with the 88-cent items, right? They had, hundreds of different things you could buy, anywhere from 88 cents up to, I don't know, maybe $15. So with my children, we give them each one of them, and they made a list of everybody they wanted to buy a gift for. And they went to the 6 or 7 pages in the middle of this little catalog to find all the 88-cent items. And they spent a whole afternoon. Well, we're going to get Auntie Robin this, and let's get Mama and Daddy this. And when those packages came, like you'd get a lot of presents for 88 cents each, right? They were thrilled, and they wrapped everything up. So they were very focused. It was definite purpose, wasn't it? They were going to pick out every item, and then when the things came in, they took out their list, checked it off, wrapped it, right? So we had Sears Roebuck catalogs. I can't remember maybe it was Harriet Carter, I think was the name of the little magazine. I think they still send them out. All right. Okay, so any questions you have, ask, and here we go. This is a story of Edwin C. Barnes. Now, you see him here. What happened was this man, and this particular chapter is called, in the introduction, Mind Power, the man who thought his way. Really, what you're thinking the most about and how you feel when you think about it is vital. So this particular story is about this gentleman who had a burning desire. I mean, he was burning. He wanted to go into business. Oh, for goodness sake, why do I have so much trouble with this mouse? I need a technical person. Oh my goodness. Give me just 1 second. How am I going to get over here? All right, there's got to be a way to do this. Shoot. All right, it's like with 2 screens, I can't get anything done properly here. It's like I don't know. Okay, so let me see. I know what I can do. I can take this off. I think I can take this off the screen. There we go. So you're going to get me, and then I'll bring it back on. So Edwin Barnes had a dream, and his dream was to go into business. This was 130 years ago with Thomas Edison, the greatest inventor of all time. And he had 2 things against him. He wanted more than anything else to go into business, not to work for Edison. His dream was to partner with Edison, but he had 2 things against him. So think about yourself. He didn't know Edison or anybody who knew Edison, and he didn't have any money to take a train to East Orange, New Jersey, where Edison lived. So that didn't stop him. He rode blind baggage which is hopping a boxcar or a freight train. Now, we don't know what his wife said if he was married. This guy grew up in Wisconsin and was born, I think, 1878. And this is all he knew. And just think about it. We didn't have social media. How did he know? Maybe there were newspapers, there were flyers in each one of the towns. So that's what he did. His wife might have said, listen, if you leave, don't bother coming back. We don't know what his world was like. But what we do know is that he was compelled to do this. And he didn't care. He didn't have any money. He found a solution. He didn't care that he didn't know Edison. He found his address. And he shows up on Edison's doorstep. Hang on, let's see if I can get, there we go. Bring this on so you can see it. And there he is. And Edison greets him at the door. Now, if somebody showed up at your door, and here's what he did. He put Edison on notice. When the door opened and Edison was there, he said, I'm here to let you know I want to be your partner and I'm going into business with you. On his way, the things he thought were, I am going to meet Edison. I am going to be his partner. Notice he didn't say, I'll try, I hope, I wish, because the words and what you think have a certain feeling to them. And you always want to feel really good as much as possible. So when you think about something that you want very much, your memory will bring it back up into your conscious awareness, but it will also bring the joy you feel. And it is that cellular vibration, my friends, that is the key, the magic connection to the universe or God, which is our partner. We are co-creators. And my work is all about understanding what is the universe already doing to make our lives easier. When we don't know about universal laws and we don't know about business principles, it's a tough road. It is. You have to do everything yourself. You have to do everything by trial and error. But with continuous learning, and this is now the higher awareness, when you learn these things, you smile when you see the universe deliver something to you or someone to you that you used to call a coincidence. You become very clear that there are no coincidences, that your cause in the matter of your life, what you want, is moving toward you at the same vibration or frequency or amplitude of vibration as you're moving toward it. So if you're sitting on the couch dreaming, your dream is sitting on its couch over there. If you get up and you kind of drag your feet, you're not really inspired, it's still coming toward you, but it's dragging its feet, if you will. So the way you behave and the way you feel and the way you take steps toward what it is you want in an effort to achieve it, the universe has already sent the second iteration to you. So notice that what you get, you don't actually go to your goal, do you? You take steps to get there, absolutely. But the goal lands in your doorstep. It shows up. And those things that you call coincidences, they're signs that you've actually caused this. You don't have to understand 100% how this works, because you've seen it. Oh my goodness, look who is here. Let me just say hello to Donald Cohen. And when I first came back on LinkedIn a couple of years ago, Donald was doing lives every day, live streams, and he invited me and we did 40 or 50 weekly shows together. So I'm always grateful to Donald, and many of us are, who are on LinkedIn. He's sort of the godfather, if you will, of LinkedIn live stream. He's nurtured so many people into their own show. Okay, so let's get back to this story here. It's by acknowledging Donald, I kind of lost where I was, but no matter. Okay. So, as Barnes stood in front of Edison at his doorway. Edison later tells the story about what happened. He said, this guy showed up looking like a vagrant. I mean, ask yourself, would you do if you opened the door and someone said, look, I am going into business with you? You probably give him a plate of food and shut the door. You might even be a little afraid because he looks a bit scary. But Edison said, as he was relating this story about meeting Edwin Barnes, that there was something in Edison's eyes. So what we know now is that, in Barnes's eyes, I'm sorry. What we know now is that Edison had a well-developed intuition. So the outside conditions and circumstances, right, which was this man showing up, putting him on notice that I'm going into business with you, the most famous inventor we had, most of us would, not be looking. He didn't look at that. He said that he was sure that Edwin Barnes had already made up his mind. So it's mind power, the man who thought his way. He visualized already being in business with Edison. He spoke to himself as he rode blind baggage. I am going into business. I will be taken into Edison's business. And he was willing to give up everything. In fact, he even said, I would die. I'm not giving up. So he arrives at the door, and Edison sees this right away and hires him, but not as his partner. No, he was working in the laboratory. Now, Edison had a whole slew of salespeople already. And, every invention that came out, everybody was making money. The sales team were doing great and everything. But so Barnes sat in Edison's lab working at a menial. He did earn some money. It was a very menial amount of money, but it was just so that he could be there. It took 5 years before the opportunity came. And by the way, these opportunities come from where you don't expect them. So don't think that the money and the success you get is from working a 9-to-5 job. It comes another way. And that's what's so beautiful about having faith in being a co-creator, because you've seen this yourself, where you're surprised with money that comes in the mail that you weren't expecting. Or someone even picks up the phone that you haven't heard from in years, but you've been thinking about them. And they call you. And we call it a coincidence. What if it isn't? Isn't it more fun to think that we actually do have the ability here to be cause in the matter of our lives? So what's important in this lesson is what Barnes did for those 5 years, because he didn't give up. Would you wait 5 years? Have you waited 5 years for something before? I bet you have. So while it seems unsurmountable and why would he stay, let me tell you what he did every day. He kept it alive by visualizing him already being a partner of Edison's. Because when you use your imagination, you bring up the memory of what it looks like in your mind's eye to already have it. And that's what Barnes did. Because when you bring the image up again on the screen of your mind, which is about right here when you close your eyes, what comes with it is the joy, is the high vibration. And so that is how he stayed inspired. He was sending a message every day to the universe of specifically what he wanted and why he wanted it. So he was heart-centered in that he wanted to help the world, but he also wanted it for himself, for his family. The why has to be important. Why did he want to? We don't know that. I haven't found anything about the why. So here's what happened. Yeah, because I want to check the time here. Oh, we're doing good. And I want to see if there are any questions. So drop in any questions you have or any clarifications. So all of a sudden, Edison comes up with this transcribing machine, voice to transcription. And they called it the Ediphone, which is the precursor to the dictaphone, which I used, right? When I worked for medical practices, we used a dictaphone. The doctor would tape the diagnosis or the prognosis or whatever we're supposed to do into the dictaphone, record it, and then I would wear a headset and I would type it. And I typed 105 words a minute, so I was pretty fast. And so all the salesmen, though, poo-pooed the idea. They didn't want to sell this thing. Everything else had worked, but they believed that this was a waste. This was not going to work. And they basically told Edison they didn't want to do it. And that's when Edison asked Barnes. And Barnes got his opportunity. Unexpected. Now, he did go into partnership with Edison, ultimately made a lot of money because he was the only one selling it all over the United States. And every Ediphone said, manufactured by Edison and installed by Barnes. So you're hearing the lessons here, and I want you to get them. Barnes had a definite purpose. He was willing to give everything, risk his wife being mad. He didn't have a dime. He didn't know Edison. It didn't matter. He was compelled. And I will tell you that people who are compelled and do very great things are a little off kilter. You actually have to be a little obsessed in a good way, in love with. Are you thinking about when this happened to you? That is so what Barnes did was talk to himself, visualized already being Edison's partner. Then he saw Edison and he put him on notice. I'm here to be your partner. Edison sees something special in Barnes through his intuition, which is well developed and only by a few people out of 100 now, let alone back then. He had developed his mindset and his intellectual faculties to the point where he could override the way Barnes looked and look into his eyes and use vibration, a sensing, his intuition that this man had already made up his mind. Okay. So that is the story. Let's see if I can get this working out. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? I'm looking. Questions, comments? Okay, everybody good? All right, so you got the message. Between last week and this week and next week, there is another story. So you will have 3 lessons and 3 stories before you even get out of the introduction. You're going to be so clear on the fact that you had already done this. As children do this all the time, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the reason they're so proficient at getting what they want, besides they harangue parents and they do think only one thing and they are obsessed, they don't have as many fears and failures as we do. So basically what stops us with ideas to get something that we just don't know how to do or we failed at. We just don't have a clue, but we want it more than anything else, and we'll go to the ends of the earth for it. We have a whole slew of fears that are going to beat us to the punch. That thought that you failed before, Leslie, don't do that. Everybody's going to laugh at you. Fear of criticism, right? Well, Leslie, you can't afford it. That's the fear of poverty. The truth is there's plenty of abundance, right? Well, Leslie, what if you get sick and you catch COVID on the way to do this thing that you want? Well, there's the fear of illness, a reason you wouldn't do it. So this dream that you have over here has to be strong enough. You have to use your will and your concentration and your focus, because the very first thing that's going to come up is one of your 6 basic fears saying this is a bad idea and let me just prove it to you. So instead of this really good visualization, which you don't know how to do, but you're excited to visualize, all the ones, the negative ones that you've already visualized, really are first at bat. And with that comes that low vibration, that lousy feeling that you have. And we stop. So the trick is, if you're really compelled here, is the minute you get an idea that turns you on like wildfire, you don't know why, but it almost feels heaven sent. You can't give an example. You're really connected to the universe through intuition and imagination, which is conscious. When that happens, take 2 steps. The minute you get into action, you shut down the initial fear. Now, that's the strongest fear. Because when you first go to do something like this that you don't know how to do, or you failed at multiple times or even once, right? That fear is strong, and it will be first at bat, and it will cloud your desire because you only have one conscious thought at a time. So if you'll take 2 steps, they don't have to be big, but you immediately get into action, moving toward what it is you want, and you start the process, you've shut down fear. It'll come back. But when it comes back, you're ready for it. And you simply remind yourself why you're doing it. What was the whole purpose of it? Well, it was heart-centered. It was to give my family more. It was to give the world more. It was help bring this, whatever it is for you. All right. So we're doing good on time. So let me just bring this back. You ready, everybody? Let me see if there's any questions. Okay. We've got a few minutes for me to show you what's happening. Lots of excitement. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Look at this. Let me see if I can get this to work. Oh, there we go. So most of you know that this summer, July 25th, the possibility of errata was my first fiction, my 10th book, and it's a science fiction love story. And these are the results, and I'm relaunching the book. And it will start tomorrow night. So for the next several weeks, 5 weeks, Saturday night at 5 p.m. live, Sunday night, 5 p.m. live Eastern. My friend Cyrus Kafash is helping me relaunch and actually leading the effort to relaunch because there's an audiobook coming out and book 2 is underway. So are you all ready? Are you ready? It's going to be phenomenal. I'm so excited that Cyrus and there's a whole team. You were part of the team, Adrian, all of you. It'll be a little different, but it's going to be on live stream on LinkedIn and a whole bunch of other places, TikTok, X, all those. I don't even go there. Instagram, or maybe not Instagram, but Facebook. So the idea here is to get everybody ready for the audiobook and book 2. And it's been a couple of months. So Saturday night and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll be live here with Cyrus and several other people who have been involved in the original launch. Hi, Lydia. Thank you so much. Lydia's excited. Yeah. And it's because I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do Edwin C. Barnes. I will not give up on this. And I have other dreams around this because this book is all about what we need right now in our world, which is about virtues, values, and soul-kissing love. That's what's missing. It's been a long time. This is a science fiction. It's a love story, and it's filled with these lessons that I've been teaching for years. I can't tell you what they are because I wrote it as part of me. So I've got someone who's read the book more than me, if you can imagine, who studied with me, figuring out, well, okay, this is this lesson, this is this lesson, because I don't know. It's just who I am. Oh, thank you, Adrian. Yeah, I hope I can count on you. I would love that. And Aaron, I know that you will. And Elizabeth, so show up. I'll invite you. Okay, I will invite you and do your best to show up and watch this amazing process and then be ready for the audiobook. Plan is to get it done before Christmas. We'll see. I mean, that is the plan. So I'm thrilled. And oops, we did that already. Okay, and just so you know, goal achievement is my specialty, and I am doing a 3-hour transformational intensive on Thursday, December 5th from noon to 3 p.m. Now, what you're going to walk away with at 3 p.m., I'll take you through a transformational process. You will walk away with all your 2025 goals written and in priority order. Why am I doing this then? Because every year at Christmas, I used to stress, and my clients did too, about what am I going to do the first of the year? Can I really enjoy the holidays? And what about New Year's Eve? There's a lot of anxiety. When December 5th at 3 p.m. comes, your whole plan for the next year is done. And what's more is most people can't accomplish them all. In other words, you will have so many goals and they will be in priority order that you're going to have to get a little picky. So the cost of this workshop is $75. My thinking on the fear of poverty is that at some point, if this amount of money concerns you, which is fine, then you need a leap of faith, because your results will exceed or match your level of investment. So you're going to have to bite the bullet and find that $75. The reason I do it at this price is because I want more people to get this for themselves so they can coast through December, really enjoy themselves, and have a whole year. And by the way, these goals that you document, you've never thought of them before, and you're doing it with the universe. But I'm not going to tell you any more than that. Was Jasmine is here. Hi, Jasmine. Jasmine is on the team for the relaunch of Errata. I'm so excited. And so thank you, Jasmine, for working on that team. Also, Paulette Hallam, for those of you who know her, is also on the team. So I want you to be on the team like you did before. It'd be different. So for you, it's more about, we're going to sell books. Okay. So it's more about sharing the event and showing up, right, to these live events, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Show up, ask a question, comments. The link will be there to buy books. This will be fun to see if we can't get people excited again before the audiobook comes. So, hey, Linda, so glad you're here. And yes, Lydia, it is a quantum leap. And it's very much the junk man, right? Because I will find the expert, which I did in Cyrus, to take me to the next step. There were other steps that showed up, but they didn't quite work. So that's part of the reason why you want to be sure that you don't know how you're going to achieve your goal. Because if you set the steps based on what you know now, then you're very busy overcoming those obstacles. And so the people and opportunities that show up that guide you in the right direction, you don't even see them because you're busy trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You're always growing in awareness. And what you want is already on its way to you in the way of people and opportunities. So do yourself a favor. And when you set a goal, make it big, make it clear, but make sure you've never done it before and that you don't know how. Because this is how you develop faith in your ability and your deservability. So we're 5 minutes over. Let me just see what else I have here. I don't need to do that. I told you about this. And I will put in the comments this link, which will take you to a real simple page. You'll pay your $75. Now, keep in mind that when you go on a vacation, as soon as you buy the ticket, the vacation starts. As soon as you choose and make a decision to sail through the holidays and do this with me, and I've done it over 30 times, over 16 years, it works every time. It's just a process that we repeat. You just don't know the process yet, right? Then you will walk out and sail through the first Christmas season and the first December season, probably with the least amount of anxiety. So I'll put that link in there. We are good. We did this and we're back to here, and I can take this off. And as you go out into your weekend, please remember, as she says, as she's having this same problem with this stupid mouse. There we go. Okay. So please be sure that any questions you have, put in the comments. Be sure tonight, 8 p.m., you want to be here on LinkedIn for the Soul Man Live show. And tonight there's a special guest. Her name is Noni Virani, who I know very well. And she will be featured. Aaron always features someone special along with all the entertainment. So that's at 8 o'clock. You can come in a little early. There's always music in advance. And then for me, Saturday night, tomorrow night, I've already created the event. I'll be creating the other ones. Please go ahead and attend, even if you're not positive that you can be there every single time, and share it. Share it with your network, because the whole idea here is to get this information and this life that we deserve to live in this book into everybody's hands, because therein is another world that you can escape to in your imagination and using your intuition that is really all about wealth, health, and happiness. It's about living the life you're supposed to live. We can do it. So with that, I will remind you always, when you walk through a storm, be sure to hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark, because at the end of the storm, there's always a golden sky, and you'll hear the sweet, simple song of the lark. Thank you, everybody, my friends, for being here. I'm going to end the live now, and I always have difficulty with this. So you may leave, and I will do my best to end this stream. I hope you've enjoyed every bit, and I'll come back around and answer any questions that you have as I struggle. Oh, I think I did.